Let's get it started today with Patrick Mahomes. Woo! Yesterday signed a 10-year contract extension with the Chiefs worth $450 million in new money, making it not just the richest contract in NFL history, but the richest in American professional sports. No doubt, the numbers are eye-opening. The $450 million over 10 years includes over $140 million in injury guarantees, $63 million guaranteed at signing, and there are also $2.5 million per year in incentives. With a quarterback scheduled to earn $183.4 million over the next 6 years, Acho, do you think this was a smart deal for Mahomes?
I'm going to say something now.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to say it in 10 minutes when LeVar is joining us.
Oh, okay.
LeVar was right yesterday, Marcellus.
Ooh.
And he convinced me to now answer the question and say, it wasn't a smart deal for Mahomes. I went back and I thought about our dialogue on yesterday's phenomenal show, and I thought to myself, man, Mahomes, he's going to bring in, if we want to look at it, roughly $45 million per year, right? He's going to break the bank, largest contract, in quotes, in sports history. But you got to think, if you're Patrick Mahomes, you were already going to make $27 million over the next 2 years. Now you're making $33 million over the next 2 years. If we want to look at like the next 6 years, when Patrick Mahomes likely is going to have to renegotiate his contract as it stands anyway, really, he's going to end up making roughly 40 or so mil a year.
Okay.
If we being real, bro, he would have made more anyway.
Don't do the math for him.
I'm not even going to break it down for y'all, but like, if you really start calculating and carrying the two and dividing by, if you really get into the numbers, he was probably going to end up making more. So was this a great deal for Mahomes? If you look at the big picture in the historical context, sure, you can say it was. But if you really get into the nitty-gritty of the math,
right,
I think the Chiefs probably won this one.
Probably. Let's take that word out and just make this with conviction. Look, it wasn't a smart deal. Now, I feel really dumb saying that someone who just signed for $500 million didn't do the smart thing, but I have to just go with my experience, and I have to dive into the details like you did. One league source observed this deal and said, he made this deal as if he had no leverage. Like, Patrick Mahomes just signed a deal, and his signing bonus was $10 million. There was a rising, but still lowly defensive end 20 years ago who had a signing bonus of $9 million, and he's wearing his cheap suit right now. How in the hell does the best quarterback maybe ever, at least on that trajectory, and certainly right now, is in a position where only $1 more million, you walked out of that office 20 years later than myself? That's just my starting point. But let's get into why this isn't a smart deal a little more. When you sign long-term deals as they used to in yesteryear, you know, Dante Culpepper and those guys used to sign those 10-year deals, and then all of a sudden the agents woke up and said, wait a minute, the security that we're trying to get out of this long-term deal and runway is actually not being put into these deals. Present value and future value is not properly negotiated in long-term deals. So you do it for security. If I'm going to get locked up for 10 to 12 years, like Patrick Mahomes, I need security. You know what this deal doesn't give him?
What's it do?
It doesn't give him the security he needs. The financial security is not there. As you just pointed out, if you would have just bet on yourself every time the negotiating table was presented, you would have made more. So financially, this is not a secure place. And in job security, all of the opt-outs are on the team side, not the player side. So I don't know why he signed this.
To take it a step further, me speaking yesterday, I was speaking a little ignorantly because I was like, take the money right now.
Oh, they got
need
you.
it, Pat.
Money.
But I played linebacker. Linebacker, there is for sure 100% injury ratio because on every snap, you busting heads. Like, you running into somebody, a grown man, 300 pounds on every play. But as a quarterback, realistically speaking, you don't often see career-ending injuries. Alex Smith,
there you go.
He's the most recent one we've seen, but he had more or less a career-ending surgery, not really a career-ending injury. Remember, there was a staph infection and whatnot. So outside of that, you have Peyton Manning. He had a neck, but still came back and won a Super Bowl after that. So Patrick Mahomes, if he's just looking at the odds, Marcellus, he more than likely isn't going to have a career-ending injury. Furthermore, he's a mobile quarterback, but he's not a running quarterback, so it's not like he's about to pop an Achilles by the grace of God. So when you look at Pat, if he wasn't going to get hurt, you got to bet on yourself. You got to take the 1 year 45, 1 year 45,
you gotta do
4 years 170. But then I'm reminded of contracts that break the barrier. because they always catch our eyes. We see him on SportsCenter, we're like, oh my God. You see him on Twitter, you're like, oh my God. You see the reporting. But then in 3 or 4 years, things change. Remember Julio Jones, 2015, if I'm not mistaken, signs a huge $71 million deal.
Big.
It was huge, second richest contract at the time for a receiver. But then just 3 years later, he was like the 7th highest paid receiver. Just 3 years later, had to re-up again in 2019 because there was a little bit of a contract dispute. I think the same thing gonna happen to Mahomes because Lamar Jackson gonna get broke off. Deshaun Watson gonna get broke off. Don't mess around and let Jerry Jones start to feel a little too comfortable and break Dak Prescott off. Mahomes could look up in 3 or 4 years and end up being the 4th or so highest paid QB.
I'm going to stay in that same lane, that same vein, because on paper it says $500 million, but if you keep reading it says not really. One is $477 million, not even $503 million in terms of real actual dollars. Those incentives, stop playing.
Stop playing.
Like, you got to win. You got to win the AFC Championship game every year. Has to win the MVP every year. Stop playing. He's not going to get that. So here's the thing about it. You said headlines and headline grabs. And on this show, we're fearless. On this show, we keep it 100, sometimes 1,000, and that really hurts when we shake the table. I got to do that right now.
Please.
Okay. There are a lot of people out there speculating that this was a headline grab. This was a Lee Steinberg, my former agent, Patrick Mahomes' current agent, a chance for him to lock himself into a long-term deal, make sure he gets that 3% forever, 1% if Patrick is smart, and continues to ride that wave versus what we saw what happened with Dak Prescott, switching agencies, going with CAA or Athletes First and our boy David. We ain't going to say his last name. We love him. The point is, that hit me, and that hit me hard right here. I was a San Diego Charger, and in my 3rd year, I switched agents. I go from Brad Blank, amazing guy, amazing agent, to Lee Steinberg.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, after my exit interviews in my 3rd year, my numbers were down, I get it, but they were like, look, we got rid of Rodney Harrison, Junior Seau, John Perella. You're the whole defense. They're triple teaming you. You're fine, Marcellus. That's how I left the building. And Lee Steinberg becomes my agent. Brad Blank calls me continuously, and he's my friend, so I'm picking up the phone, but then he's not my agent. I'm like, stop telling me that I need to talk to the Chargers. The Chargers wanted me to just take a little haircut, like yours, just a little haircut, just a little something. And I didn't. No, it was like, I was really caught in the tug of war of the agents. And Lee was saying, everything's fine, everything's good. They're looking forward to seeing you next year. You know what happened? Watching SportsCenter 9 a.m. on a Saturday after a great Friday night. I see my name across the ticker. I was like, I ain't get a DUI. I'm in the bed. I said, I only got one child. Don't do that to me. It was Marcellus Wiley released. Had no idea what's coming. Fast forward, I'm on the Dallas Cowboys. I get another good deal, and I'm happy. But it's stuck here. And people were telling me there was motivation in the room to get you on to the next deal so Lee could get paid. Now, when I put that parallel to this situation, I'm like, how much of this was Lee explicitly explaining to Patrick Mahomes, like he didn't to me, that this is the best deal for you? Or was this a little incentivized for Lee as well as Patrick Mahomes? Did he negotiate against his own client as well as the team? I'm starting to buy into that because I have history.
Marcel's going to shake the table now.
I'm just letting y'all know what I went through.
I understand that. And when you look at a contract like this, you have to understand, like you said, what is it? The beauty, whatever it is in the details.
Oh, yeah, the devil's in the details.
The devil's in the details.
Right.
And I look at this contract and I look at this deal and I'm like, you know what? Something is funny here. I think Patrick Mahomes is still going to get his. Because keep in mind, you win Super Bowls, you win MVPs, you still gonna get yours, but in this contract, I don't think he's gonna get everything he can.
Well, after that 6 year, the $59 million salary, that usually lets the team and the player know we need to restructure at that time. That's on the table. I'm not done here. I just gotta breathe on this subject right here. I remember I was in Buffalo my 3rd year. I was on the defensive line and I was going up. But there was somebody already up that was drafted undrafted my same year, Pat Williams. I don't know if you know about him. He was a beast, played 14 years in the league, a beast. But Pat was undrafted. 3rd year, he's restricted. I tell Pat, who was one of my best friends on the team, and my roommate, who will blow it up every night before the game. I was like, Pat, chill. You know what you need to do? take a one-year deal, bet on yourself, and then be an unrestricted free agent. Pat didn't have money. His first deal, 3 years, $600,000. My first deal was for $2.1 million. He's like, wow, style. I got to catch up to you, big dog. I said, don't do it. In a year, you're going to be upset how much money you're going to leave on the table. He takes the deal. 5 years, $12 million. Pat was better than me. Pat was better than me. 5 years, $12 million. You know what I signed the next year? 6 years, 40. And I said, Pat, what did you do? And Pat was stuck. And that's the situation I feel with Patrick Mahomes. Pat got paid. Patrick Mahomes just got paid. But how much did you leave on this table? That's my issue with this deal. Elsewhere in the NFL, Dak Prescott was probably paying very close attention when news of Mahomes' contract broke yesterday. As he and the Cowboys continue their battle over a long-term deal, they have until July 15th to come to terms, or Dak will play on the franchise tag, and they'll do the whole dance over again next offseason. So, Acho, you think Mahomes' deal should have an impact on Dak?
Man, y'all stop playing, man. Y'all stop playing. Absolutely not.
Oh,
what Mahomes and Dak got to do with each other? I think about this, Marcellus.
I got something.
I'm a college football analyst, my brother, and so I study the game of college football.
You used to be.
Now
right. You a host.
You're
Don't
right.
speak for
You're
yourself.
right. Say it with your chest.
Right.
So look, man, I'm thinking about programs like Clemson, won several national championships the last decade. They got barbershops in their facilities. They got slides in their facilities. You can't be at a lower tier program that hasn't won lately. Call it I don't know, a UCLA.
Okay.
You can't be there and be like, man, we should have slides too. We should have barbershops too. Why can't you be like that? Because you ain't winning them kind of games.
You ain't doing it like that.
You ain't doing what they doing.
Okay.
Dak Prescott, I understand you are winning games, but you're not winning the game.
Oh.
I understand that you were top 5 in passing this past year when it comes to yardage, but is that correlating to team success? So Dak Prescott, what he get, what his contract looked like, it really shouldn't have nothing to do with Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes' success should have no bearing, sir, on what Pat, on what Dak.
Yeah. I want you to fall through this one.
I'm already falling through, son. I'm already falling through.
You know when I grab this pen while you talking and I write something down here, it's not going to be good for you, brother. First of all, you asked the question, what does Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes have to do with each other?
Yeah.
Nothing. And it's unfortunate that Patrick Mahomes is the loser in that conversation. The next 3 years, you know how much Patrick Mahomes is going to make?
I'll call it, let's say, 60 mil.
63 million. Good job. You know who else is going to make that? Teddy Bridgewater. And he's going to make the same as Teddy Bridgewater, but then Patrick going to be like, I have 9 more years, yay. And Teddy going to be like, I don't. It's my turn to go back out there in that free market and get more money if he performs. How much did I say Patrick Mahomes going to make in the next 3 years?
So 63 if I'm not
63?
mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. How much is Dak Prescott going to make in the next 3 years if Jerry Jones keep playing? $123 million. Keep franchising me if you want to. And that's my floor, not my ceiling. They don't have anything to do with each other. And that's a sad reality. I love me some Lamar Jackson. If you made me had to pick between Patrick Mahomes and drafting Lamar Jackson, I'm going to take all the time on the clock because I love both of the guys equally. But I will go with the masses. Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the NFL today. What the hell is he doing in a conversation tied with Teddy Bridgewater and half of Dak Prescott? Can you please answer that?
I'm going to answer this for you. I'm going to answer this for you.
Please.
Because you clearly are an optimist. That's what you have done.
Yeah.
You have painted an optimistic picture for the fan at home. And if they weren't paying attention, they would just have gone with your thinking. Because, yes, if Dak gets tagged this year, it's 30+. And if he gets tagged again next year, I think it's what, 35,
37.
37.
31,
and then
37.
I don't think they can tag him again.
Oh, yeah.
After that, I just know we're going to get broke off.
54.
Yeah, so that's not going to happen. They're not going to tag him. They're just going to pay him if that happens. But there's a big if, sir. That's what you fail to understand is that capital I and that capital F. There's an if. Dak Prescott, the reason the Cowboys ain't paid him long-term anyway is because they're almost waiting for him to fail, obviously. Because otherwise, you just pay the man. It's kind of like when they're waiting for Dak to give them a reason not to pay him. So you would be mistaken if you want to simply assume that Dak Prescott's going to ball and get paid, then ball and get tagged again, then ball and get a long-term deal. Because if Jerry wanted to give Dak a long-term deal, he would have done it, Marcellus.
Yeah, but you're talking a different conversation, and I respect it. But what I'm saying is, what's the universal language, love language of sports, of business? Pay me. How is Dak going to get paid more than Patrick Mahomes? How is that even
it shouldn't be a conversation.
It shouldn't even be feasible. But it's not only feasible, it's going to happen. It's a reality. That's my problem. Young Jeezy talked about this. That ain't this, and this ain't that. Look at, and I can't say the rest because it's rap. But the point of it is, Dak ain't Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes not Dak. But Dak gonna be like, when I go to the bank, they love me more than even you, Patrick Mahomes. So being a guy who walked into a locker room and saw Bruce Smith, the greatest defensive end of all time, and I made more money than him. Being in the locker room where I was with Junior Seau, and I made more money than him. Sometimes, and a lot of people get lost in this, you ain't got to be the best player.
You ain't.
You just got to be in the best situation, you got to be there at the right time, and have the right agent. I don't know what's going on with Patrick Mahomes, but if I had that type of game, I need a lot more money.